Welcome back, everyone, to a fine day in the NPC world. We are picking up where we left off at the Whiskey Hotel Team Ruck match. Now, here we are at the stage Target Discrimination. I would like to send a special thanks to our buddy Logan for letting us use his footage. I'm a dumbass and forgot to record.
Something wrong? Patrick? You're sweating.
This was a very fun stage. You had some moving targets in the background with cardboard guns to simulate threats. Then you had various obstacles with non-threats that would pop up to try to trick you to engage. Our buddy Logan here accidentally falls for one of those traps, but the course just kind of cycled through this multiple times, targets moving back and forth and popping up, and you had to engage them as they presented themselves. It was a lot of fun, and I wish I would have filmed it. It would have been great footage to have. We're going to go ahead and get right into the next stage, which was called a round the clock or catch a ride, depending on who you talk to. On the sheet, it was called around the clock. But on the back of the sheet, that is, it was called around the clock. But on the front of the sheet where the map was, it was called catch a ride. Now, we had 6 minutes, and what we had to do is start by bringing a sandbag over to the truck, loading it on top, and then loading a second sandbag on top. Once both were on top, you had to take your hands off the sandbag and then unload both sandbags. You can see ours got stuck here and made it that much more difficult. Once you got the second sandbag off the truck, it had to touch the ground, and then you would run back over to the barriers and start engaging a series of steel plates. There were 3 sets of steel plates. The first one was at about 200 yards. The next one was at about 250, and the final set was at about 300. This was all estimating. We were not given the ranges. We kind of had to guess that ourselves. Now, what you had to do was engage each plate before you could move on to the next set of plates. Now, it didn't matter who from your team engaged the plate, as long as you hit it. Now, I got a little ahead of myself here because you had to cycle through the plates 2 times. So I had to hit the 200 yard once, 250, then the 300, and then go back through it again through the 200, 250, 300. Once you hit every plate twice and you cycled through the sequence twice, you would then go back to loading the sandbags on the car. So you would sprint back to the car with the sandbag, load both on top, and repeat the process, unload them and run back. Now, every time you came back to the barrier, though, you had to not only switch sides of the shooting barrier, but you also had to switch hands. You can see here that we were not to carry our ARs, and my dumbass almost ran away with it. So they had to stop me, tell me to drop it. I'm also explaining to Aaron here that we do not have to touch the ground before loading. Only when we're on our way back we have to touch the ground. He was under the impression that before you started loading these sandbags you had to touch the ground as well, and that is not the case. So here we have to swap sides on the barrier now, and we are engaging these targets left-handed. Same thing, we are going through the sequence twice, starting at 200 and working your way back to the 300 yard targets, hitting each one once before moving on to the next set. Once we cycled through this twice, we would go ahead and pick up the sandbags and repeat the process. Once we finished unloading the sandbags, we would be back on the right hand. Now, you can see here that as the stage went on, Aaron and I actually got a little faster. We found our holds, and we were able to just kind of really pick up the pace here and really step on the gas. I was pretty surprised with how I shot left-handed. I did not predict that I would be that good. Like right there, I just banged a 300-yard shot. Damn! And I don't practice much left-handed. Now, I am ambidextrous. Not having that many rounds left-handed, I'm pretty happy with how I shot left-handed, especially with loading and unloading sandbags and getting that heart rate up. This ended up being one of my favorite drills. It was physical, but it got the blood flowing, and it was a lot of fun. It added a whole different aspect to shooting. You're not just, running from position to position shooting. You're actually completing a physical challenge and working out your arms, getting them sore in a different way. This was a lot of fun. Aaron and I both really enjoyed this stage, and it was a nice switch up in pace from the IDPA and USPSA matches that we're so used to seeing. Not a lot of physical challenges in those, so it was nice to get that switch up. We're working through our third iteration of this now. We just got a hit. I'm being as vocal as possible so Aaron knows where we're at. I'm trying to let him know when I engaged the target or when a target was engaged, so we were on the same page and not just wasting time shooting at the same target. Once we get in our groove here, we really just start flowing, start communicating. Just simple stuff like, hey man, drop the bag now. Like that, it made it so much easier that someone wasn't just dragging the bag, or everything was in sync. We were really trying to work as a team. That's what this, I feel like this whole match was focused on, is working with your teammate, not just an individual score. So I was really trying to communicate the best of my abilities and work as a unit rather than an individual. It was also nice in that aspect too, because where one shooter was maybe lacking, the other shooter could help out a lot and kind of carry. Our first person view cuts out here. This was a lot of fun, guys. I highly recommend getting out to one of these matches and shooting them. These types of stages are great. You don't see these much, at least from where I'm from. That being said, guys, that was the third and fourth stage. Hope to see you back for the next one. Aaron and I aren't gay, you know it. Ian may be. He's not here to defend himself, so we're just going to assume things because that's what you do. See you in the next one, guys.